How many times have you heard a vocal coach or a friend from choir or from anybody who have told you that you have to support more from a diaphragm or you have to sing from a diaphragm so that those high notes becomes easier for you? 1,000 fucking times. That's right. And does it work? Maybe, maybe not. My guess is that it hasn't really worked for you, and that is why you clicked on this video to confirm your suspicions. And my answer is yes and no. By the end of this video, you'll understand if this advice of supporting more or singing from the diaphragm is actually going to be helpful specifically for you, and why it hasn't been working for you so far. And when you do, you will realize that whether or not you are able to sing high notes, it has very little to do with how much you're supporting from a diaphragm, but it has everything, and I mean everything, to do with this thing that I'm about to share with you. Hey, it's JJ here, and if this is your first time watching my videos, what I do is I help singers like you unlock your high notes fast by showing you how you can access your high, complete, mixed voice vocal placement. If that sounds like what you need, then hit the subscribe button below now and let's get started. Look, often people took way too much emphasis on supporting or singing from a diaphragm. Now, first of all, I want you to understand, what is the purpose of supporting from a diaphragm? What's the purpose of breathing in the air into our lungs when we are singing? Now, I want you to understand that the air they are taking in, the diaphragmatic support they are giving to the air that they have taken in, is like the oil in a car engine. Now, if you were to just use a simple analogy of a car, would you agree with me that whether how fast a car can run, it doesn't really depend much on the oil if the engine sucks? Does that make sense? Which means if I give a truck an F1 oil, the truck will still not run faster than an F1 with a truck oil. So ultimately, when we try to fix our problem with singing high notes, we fix the wrong thing. We go and fix the support, we fix the breathing. But is that important? Yes. But what's more important is the engine of the car. So what is the engine when we are singing? Two things: our vocal cords and our placement. Our vocal cords are going to control the amount of air that's being used, and the high placement is going to make sure that the sound they are producing is easy. It is acoustically the most efficient sound. And if whatever I've just said sounds new to you and you don't quite believe what I'm saying, then let's take a look at what the late Whitney Houston's vocal coach has to say about singing and supporting from the diaphragm.
How many here have heard this concept, sing from the diaphragm? Who's heard that concept? Right. Now, would it amaze you to realize that when you sing, you don't use your diaphragm? Would that surprise you? The diaphragm is only engaged when you breathe in. It drops. When you breathe out, which is when you sing, it's totally disengaged. So even if you wanted to sing from it, you'd be in trouble if you tried. So that whole concept is a bogus concept. On top of that, breathing does not control your voice. Your vocal cords control the breathing. So if I go, oh, what's happening is the cords are closing and it's controlling the release of the breath. So what is the determining factor in that is how strong the cords close and how efficiently they release the breath. It's not the breath itself, it's the cords controlling the breath, like a balloon. Releasing the lips of the balloon, you make the noise. So the stronger, more coordinated the vocal cords are, the more breath you have. So the idea of focusing on breath is another nonsensical idea.
So now we are clear that diaphragmatic breathing and supporting from a diaphragm, it really isn't the most important thing. And that is why when I see people in the comment section of my previous videos, when they say talk about breathing, talk about support, I can talk about them, but that's not the main issue for most people. Now, you see, the group of people who can really benefit from the idea of I have to support more, I have to sing from a diaphragm, are actually the naturally born talented singers. Because for those singers, most of the time, they are naturally born with a high, complete mixed voice vocal placement, and their vocal cords are efficient from the beginning because of how often they have been using their vocal cords. And when they use their vocal cords often and they produce a sound often in their high placement, it just gets efficient over time. So for them, the missing piece to be able to sing well might be their breathing, because they might have neglected supporting from the diaphragm. But for most of us, it is never about the diaphragm. For struggling singers, the problem is always never the diaphragmatic support. Let me tell you why. Number one, if you don't even fix the engine first, forget about topping up the oil. If it's a truck, why do you want to drive a truck? You upgrade to an F1 car first, then you be concerned about what type of oil, how much oil should I be using, because the efficiency of the engine is way more important. Number two, for struggling singers who have learnt a bit, chances are, how many vocal coaches do you see on YouTube or do you hear tells you to train your vocal cords and your high placement? That's right, almost fucking no one. Everyone is talking about,
oh, you have to support more from the diaphragm.
As a result, what happens is most beginners, when they just watch YouTube videos, especially the very basic YouTube videos that has like millions of views, those are the ones that they get discovered first in YouTube when beginners look for them. And all those millions is very basic. They cover very basic things like diaphragmatic breathing. And as a result, sometimes beginner struggling singers, what you might tend to do is you will take things too far, because that's what I did in the past. And as a result, in the past, I used to do something in my singing called a diaphragmatic thrust. That means supporting from diaphragm is okay, but I took a step further. Instead of using my vocal cords to control the air, I force breath pressure into my vocal cords to produce a loud sound. And that's very fucking dangerous. Because understand this, the size of your vocal cords is the same size as your thumbnails. It's as small as that. Now think about it, two small pieces of vocal cords, if you push so much air into them, sooner or later, will damage them. Does that make sense? It is not efficient. You are using so much air to produce that loud sound, where a skilled singer, a singer who have accessed their high complete mixed voice vocal placement, for them, they can use 1/5 of the air that you are using, and they can sing the high note more stable and more loud than you can if you're only just supporting and pushing from a diaphragm up to the point of a diaphragmatic thrust. And how does a diaphragmatic thrust feel like? If you feel that in order to sing, you have to stand up, there's a very good chance that you're using diaphragmatic thrust. Because the truth is, where you can sing your high complete mixed voice vocal placement, when your system is efficient, you don't realize that for high notes you have to stand up. You can even sing them while sitting down, while lying down even. Many famous singers have demonstrated that before, and I think I've talked about it in another video as well. So the whole point is, for most people, if you're struggling with high notes, I can tell you for 99% of you, it is never the breath support. You have enough breath support. Because from day one, when you watch a basic YouTube video, they teach you diaphragmatic support, they teach you breath support. You have been doing it for a long while. Isn't that a case here? But afterwards, you realize that you haven't been improving, even though you support so much. And that is why you're looking over YouTube for solutions now. And now you realize, most likely, the biggest issue is the usage of placement. You're stuck in a low and heavy chest voice placement instead of being a high complete mixed voice vocal placement. And the second reason will be your lack of efficiency of your vocal cords, which is actually linked to your high placement. And if you understand, I think I've talked about this in another video as well, how resonance, it will feed back onto your vocal cords. So if your high placement is weak, if you haven't even accessed your high placement, it is difficult for your vocal cords to gain efficiency in the first place. Now those two are the things that you need to spend time on, not breathing, not supporting from a diaphragm. That will come later. In fact, I can tell you, for a lot of you, you have already trained so much diaphragmatic support that you will never ever need to train them ever again in your life. Because the whole problem that you're facing is up here. It's not below there. That is the key. If you can understand this, then it is so powerful, because now you know. You want to sing well, you're going to spend time practicing. You know what to not practice. You your fucking diaphragmatic support. Fuck that shit. You probably have way more than enough of it. Start training your high placements. That is the first place to enter your knife in, and that will give you the fastest and the most result. Now, especially if you have really trained your diaphragmatic support before, but you don't see results. Once you can understand how you can access a high complete mixed voice vocal placement, and you don't even touch breath pressure, you don't even touch diaphragmatic support, don't even touch it, you'll see immense results. And that is why whenever I'm coaching my clients, I never tell them,
Let me teach you how to breathe. So first, you have to breathe like this into the back, into the...
fuck that shit. I think if you're serious enough, most likely you have really learned it somewhere. You have heard it somewhere, heard it a fucking 1,000 times from everyone. So start training your high placement. And that is really the secret to singing high notes well, not the diaphragmatic support. So, if you enjoyed this video because it gave you so much more clarity into what you need to train now, then like this video now and tell me in the comments section below your funny stories with the idea of singing and supporting from the diaphragm. Because a lot of us, including myself, I'm a victim of it. I'm a victim of over-practicing diaphragmatic support to the extent that I'm doing a wrong technique called the diaphragmatic thrust, like I've explained earlier on. And I'll see you in another video.